Normally, I like to stay away from politics on this channel, but unfortunately, that's just not possible with today's subject. We're going to be taking a close look at the corrupt world of gold brokers who have swindled potentially hundreds of thousands of senior citizens out of millions of dollars with deceptive practices. These companies primarily target conservatives over the age of 60 and market their con game through conservative news outlets like Fox News and Newsmax, and have also directly partnered with conservative stars like Ben Shapiro, Bill O'Reilly, and even former Governor Rudy Giuliani. Now, to be clear, this video isn't an attack on any of these conservative media personalities. Most of them, I believe, don't understand just how bad these companies truly are. If anything, I hope they see this video and it encourages them to take a hard look at these deceptive gold brokers and rethink if they really want their names attached to these scummy companies. I had no idea how bad these companies were until a whistleblower who worked for one of them reached out to me and told me just how manipulative they truly are.
The way that I found out was that Isaac called me one day and asked me to increase the spread, so from 29% to like 50%, because there was a gentleman who wanted to sell 5,000 silver coins of our exclusive silver coins back to us. So by increasing the spread, we decrease the amount we have to pay that individual. And I just instantly was like, hold on, no. We don't do this. Like, this isn't okay. When we sold him these coins, we told him that he would get a 29% spread, and then it's open to the market at that point. I'm not going to do it. And Isaac, I'll never forget it. He laughed. He thought I was joking. He goes, "Wait, you're kidding, right?" And I was like, no, man. I was like, you do what you want to do, but keep me out of it, dude. Like, I don't want any part of this.
That's Dale Whitaker, who used to work directly with the CEO of Augusta Precious Metals. That company has advertised on Fox News in the past and currently has Mark Levin as their spokesperson on their website. We'll hear from Dale and take a closer look at that company later, but first I want to break down just what makes these gold brokers so bad. It's a bit complicated, which is why Dale has had trouble getting people to talk about the issue, despite being interviewed for Dateline about the topic. Ultimately, they didn't feel people would understand what was going on and decided not to run the story. Basically, these gold brokers try and convince elderly people that the stock market is too volatile and could collapse at any time, and the best way to secure your wealth is to invest in the precious metals market, as historically those have always gone up in the long term. Diversifying your portfolio is a fine thing to do, but many of these companies will sell gold at massively inflated prices, sometimes 250% over the current asking price for an ounce of gold. By doing this, they make it impossible to ever see a profit from your gold purchase, even if the price of gold goes up significantly. To make it simple, if 1 ounce of gold is currently selling for $2,000, they might sell 1 ounce of gold to you for anywhere from $4,000 to $5,000. This insane markup means that if the gold price went to $3,000 an ounce in a few years, and you attempted to sell your gold to cash in on the increase, you would actually lose money because you would be selling your gold for $2,000 less per ounce than what you bought it for. Dale, the whistleblower who knows more about the market, explained it to me in more detail as well.
So what they do is they just charge you a huge markup on the price. So they say, so traditionally on a bullion product, you're going to pay, 3, 5, maybe 10% if there's a huge supply issue. There was a few years ago, I believe in 2017, 2018 timing, there was a huge shortage on silver American Eagles. You were paying a huge premium.
Just to be clear, when you're talking about the premium, there's the gold melt price, and then you pay on top of whatever the actual melt price of the gold would be, you're paying the premium. Because these companies obviously have to make some money off of selling you gold, and it should be normally, I don't know, what, 3, 5, 10%, and this company will charge you what, like several 100% in some cases?
Yes, 150, 200%.
Wow. This kind of scummy behavior has been going on for decades and targets seniors who have no idea they are being swindled out of their retirement nest eggs. The Washington Post recently interviewed several seniors who were scammed, including a man named Ed DeSanto. Ed bought what he believed was $100,000 worth of gold from a company named American Hartford Gold, which has Bill O'Reilly as their spokesperson and regularly run ads on Ted Cruz' podcast known as Verdict with Ted Cruz.
So how do you protect your money, your retirement, your savings? Well, American Hartford Gold can show you how to hedge your hard-earned savings against inflation by helping you diversify a portion of your portfolio into physical gold and silver. They'll even help move your existing IRA or 401k out of the volatile stock market into a precious metals IRA. and they make it easy.
Once Ed received his gold and he attempted to see what it would sell for on the market, he quickly found out it was really only worth about $53,000. Hartford had marked up the gold they sold to Ed by over 90%. Now, to be fair, all gold brokers mark up gold they sell to customers. That's obviously how they make money, but as I learned from talking to Dale, a legitimate company should only have a 10% markup at max, and these companies charge 100% markups regularly. Now, at this point, you may be thinking, if these companies are so corrupt, why doesn't the government shut them down? To be honest, that's happened many times in the past. The problem is that all of these are white-collar crimes, and since no one ever gets physically hurt, the only thing that ever happens is multi-million-dollar fines that sometimes leads to one of these companies going bankrupt. If that happens, all the scummy people that run these companies just scatter like cockroaches, start a new company doing the same thing, and the cycle repeats itself again. To prove that point, I want to go through the history of some of these companies, which will eventually lead to Augusta Precious Metals, the company Dale approached me about, that he believes needs to be investigated for scamming seniors. Back in 2007, before the Great Recession, Fox News star Glenn Beck would regularly promote a company known as Goldline to the viewers of his show. Back then, Goldline was the top player in the market and would regularly sell gold at around a 90% markup to Glenn's viewers. This eventually drew the attention of both Congress as well as state authorities, and in 2011, Goldline was charged with misdemeanor grand theft, elder theft, and conspiracy. In Congress, the situation received a lot of attention, and Representative Anthony Weiner proposed legislation that would require these gold companies to be truthful about the insane markups they were charging customers. Unfortunately, that legislation went nowhere after Anthony Weiner resigned in disgrace from Congress after his sexting scandal went public. This whole industry could have been fixed over a decade ago if that legislation had been passed, but now in 2023 the situation is just as bad. Goldline never admitted to any wrongdoing and settled with authorities after paying a $4.5 million fine. To this day, they are still in business, and Glenn Beck still proudly endorses them on their website. While Goldline is still around, they nearly collapsed, and that caused many of the people working at Goldline to scatter, looking for greener pastures. Several of these employees ended up getting jobs at another gold seller named Merit Financial that also advertised heavily on Fox News. In 2014, Merit Financial was targeted by the same prosecutor that took down Goldline and accused the company of an aggressive nationwide fraud scheme. Merit Financial denied those claims, but went out of business and settled with authorities before their case went to trial. Believe it or not, the situation only gets worse from there. Several employees who left Merit Financial after its collapse formed a new company known as Metals.com. This company had some of the scummiest tactics yet and would regularly run ads on Facebook that directed seniors to a fake Fox News website that would endorse Metals.com and entice seniors to buy their overpriced gold products before it was too late. The FBI raided Metals.com headquarters in 2020, and a judge ordered the company be shut down after 31 different states filed lawsuits alleging they were running a $185 million commodities fraud. Now, after that company was shut down, believe it or not, many of its employees decided to try again and ended up joining another gold company named Safeguard Metals. In February 2022, the Securities and Exchange Commission and 27 states sued that company, claiming they had scammed seniors into buying $68 million worth of overpriced silver and gold coins. Another gold company, Lear Capital, bought Merit Financial's database of customers after its collapse and started aggressively selling to them as well. Sure enough, Lear Capital went bankrupt in 2023 after it was sued by multiple states for deceptive business practices. Despite all of these companies constantly getting taken down, there are always two more that pop up to replace them. The CEO of American Hartford Gold used to work at both Merit Gold and Goldline before both got taken down, and now his 100% totally not a scam company is proudly endorsed by Bill O'Reilly, Rudy Giuliani, and even Rick Harris from Pawn Stars. At this point, it should be pretty clear that there is a trail of stink on all of these gold companies. Why any of these celebrities would want their name attached to a brand that has ties to another company that got busted for fraud is beyond me. Hopefully the pay was good enough to have your image tarnished by being attached to such a shifty brand. With all that history out of the way, let's now focus on the company named Augusta Precious Metals. This company was founded by a guy named Isaac Nuriani, who was a former salesman for Merit Financial before they were shut down. Interestingly enough, on his LinkedIn page, he makes no mention of his former employment with that company that got taken down for fraud. Isaac started Augusta Precious Metals over 10 years ago, and Dale Whitaker, a former employee of the company, is now trying to get this business investigated, as he is claiming they are doing the same scammy practices that many of these other gold companies of the past were accused of. Dale alleges that this company, like the ones before it, sell their gold at insane markups that you will never see a return on. If you go to Augusta's website or any of the other companies I mentioned previously, they won't actually show you the price of gold on the website and instead require you to call in before they will even give you a price on their coins. Dale told me in our interview why they actually do this.
And the reason they do that is because it's all hard sales. So once they get you on the phone and they pre-qualify you, it's you're off to the races at that point. Let's close this deal. Let's get this person sold. And so, a lot of it, they'll say it's not a bait and switch and so on. And sometimes that's not true, but they really can't monitor every single salesman. There are times that salesmen will tell them, I'll sell you that. But then the minute you send them the money to buy a silver American Eagle or a gold American Eagle, they basically go, hey, before we move forward, let me tell you about this product. And then you're getting sold.
The genius of this scummy tactic is by not showing you the price of gold on their website, you can't compare it to the current market rates for gold. They get you on the phone and then push you into buying their overpriced gold without realizing you drastically overpaid and got swindled into a bad deal. Many people do eventually realize they got conned, and you would think this would lead to bad reviews, but if you look at Google reviews, you'll see that Augusta Precious Metals has a near-perfect 4.9 rating with 420 reviews. Most of the other gold companies, even the ones that got shut down, had near-perfect reviews before they collapsed. So the question is, how is this possible? Dale filled me in on what was happening with that situation as well.
So first, let's talk about how they get their reviews. So they give free coins away. So what they do is, hey, thanks for and it's like immediately after your trade, right? So you're pumped, you just invested this money, yada yada yada, and then you get a call, hey, this is so and so from the admin office. Would you mind doing a review for us, and we'll send you a free coin outside of your IRA, and it's just your coin to keep. Sure. I love coins, right? But that's why I'm investing in them. So of course I'm going to do that for you. The negative reviews, the way those are handled, so that's how they get the reviews in the first place. Now, the negative reviews, how those are handled are, you leave a negative review, I call you, and what I try to do is try to give you as much free silver as I can, right? Because I'm telling you the silver is valued at, I could give you 10 grand of free silver. Hey, if I give you an extra $10,000 worth of silver, would that appease you enough to remove it, right? So however they sell that. A lot of times, it doesn't work out that way because they've realized, right? So now they're going hard to get their money back. But let's just say you said yes. Well, that $10,000 worth of silver is actually only worth 5, maybe, right? Because of all the markups. And then what Augusta do is Augusta take a hit from that trade, right? It gets assigned to the trade. They take a hit, and the salesman takes a hit out of his commission as well. So the salesman makes less money. Augusta makes less money. The client's happy. Remove your Trustpilot review. Thank you very much. See you in 5 years when you try to sell it back to us.
Augusta offering free gold for gold reviews and making people sign NDAs to get bad reviews removed is a surefire way to make sure you look like an amazing company to anyone who does a quick recon of your business online. Despite this effort to get bad reviews removed, if you do some digging, you'll find they weren't able to get rid of all of them, with one review from a guy named Joseph, who clearly did his research, realized this company's connection to the shut down Merit Gold business over 7 years ago. The situation only gets worse from there, as Dale claims that Augusta's team would erase the sales calls so there would be no trace of the shady sales tactics they use to con elderly people into buying their overpriced gold. However, the company would make sure to keep all records of customers agreeing to the sale. Doing this made sure there was nothing on the record that made the company look bad, but at the same time, they had evidence to prevent people from backing out of the agreed-to deals.
In order to make sure that the salesmen were not saying things that could get Augusta in trouble, he hired his sister to monitor all the calls, and then when there were calls that came up, he would reprimand the salesman, and then they would wipe the calls. So he'd say, hey, and he even used them in training sessions like, hey, this is what you don't do. Right. So he'd get the salesman together. Hey, listen to this. This is what X salesman did. You don't do this. Like, this is like, you're just asking for a lawsuit.
Now, I got to speak to Dale for over an hour, where he went into details about his time working at Augusta Precious Metals for nearly 4 years. It's clear that he believes this company needs to be investigated and feels they are employing the same shady tactics that the long list of gold companies that have been prosecuted in the past have done. I'll be releasing the 1-hour interview I did with Dale on my channel shortly, but from what I've shown of this company as well as the other gold companies connected to Augusta, this entire industry needs a massive change and greater government oversight. The district attorney who shut down Merit Financial even stated that the gold industry is unregulated. It's like the Wild West. These businesses don't need licenses and they aren't bonded. Consumers often feel embarrassed and hopeless with no place to turn for help, even after being scammed out of huge amounts of money. My hope with this video is that something is actually done and legislation is passed to bring the gold industry into the 21st century and not have it operate like the Wild West. Hopefully many of the conservative media personalities who are endorsing these companies will take a second look and reevaluate their ties to them. As I stated before, this isn't an attack on those creators, who many I believe have no idea just how corrupt many of these gold companies are. They should reach out to the company and ask them point blank what kind of spread they are charging on the gold they sell. If they're charging a 100 or 200% difference over the spot price of gold, then these companies are fleecing your audience and you should cut ties with them immediately. Dale Whitaker has been working since 2018 to get Augusta Precious Metals looked into and get new legislation passed to regulate the gold market. For the first few years, nothing was done, but earlier this year, the Washington Post released an article on the story that got a lot of attention, and Dale was able to get in touch with a Tennessee congressman, David Kustoff, who told Dale he would look into introducing legislation to help regulate the industry. So far, nothing has been done by David's team, however. I'll include below the public email for Congressman Kustoff if you would like to reach out to him to encourage him to get legislation passed. It's also important that you reach out to your local congressman from whatever district you're in and ask them to do their part to help regulate this corrupt industry as well. Finally, I want to say that not every gold company is a scam, and Dale made it clear that there are 2 ways you can make sure you're not getting ripped off if you want to potentially add gold to your investment portfolio. The first thing to do is be wary of any company that is advertising on a major network or spending millions to get celebrity endorsements. That costs those companies massive amounts of money, and they end up making their customers pay huge markups to be able to continue to afford to pay out those payments to the networks. The second red flag to watch out for is if a company does not show the price of their gold on their website. Augusta and others like them will just tell you to call for pricing or offer a free gold guide they will send you once you give them your information. They do this to hide the fact that their prices are marked up ungodly amounts that will never give you a return on your investment. Going to a legitimate gold company will have the price of the gold they sell right on their website, and you can check their prices to the current spot price of gold. Any company not trying to rip you off will be selling their gold within 10% of what the current spot price of gold is. Hopefully this video can make some waves and help change the gold industry for the better. But seeing how long these companies have been around, and as soon as one gets shut down, 2 more scams pop up to replace it, I don't know if this industry will ever see any significant change.